Welcome back to my writer's room, everyone. I'm Matt Wallace, YouTube's resident angry writer, and welcome to day 13 of Hamshackle's Hangry Holiday Advent Vlog. Weird to think that we're less than a week away from Christmas Day. It feels farther off to me. Maybe like the whole rest of this year, time is just passing far too quickly. Although I know for a lot of you it's passing far too slowly. I think we're either in one of two camps. It's like it's hyper-accelerated and we feel like we're drowning and we don't have enough time for anything. Or it feels agonizingly slow and each new day brings a new horror that we have to reconcile. But either way, Christmas Day, less than a week away. If Christmas is your thing, for a lot of you it's not, and that's totally cool. But that is one of the benchmarks of the month and of the season. I observe it with my family, so it's all centered around Christmas. Got family coming in from out of town, family staying with us, family getting together for the holidays, which is always good, but a little bit stressful. Having everyone in the same place at the same time. I'm sure a lot of you are out there dealing with that yourselves, but I'm trying to stay in the spirit. I'm trying to focus on the positive aspects of what's going on, and I advise you to do the same thing. Anyway, as you know, all through December, here on the Advent Vlog, each episode I'm dedicating to a member of Team Hamshackle out there, and I'm talking about what you want me to talk about. Today's episode is going to be dedicated to alexvdl. I don't know much about you, Alex. If I know you in some other context, like from Twitter or Facebook or something, I apologize. I'm only going off your YouTube name. I know that Alex subscribes to both this channel, my Angry Writer channel, and my wrestling channel, Matt F. and Wallace, and I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you very much. Dedicated to you today, Alex. Thank you. Alex asked, I wrote it down on a little post-it, what did you take from Slingers that led to or influenced Sin du Jour? So we have a book-related question today, which is nice since the channel is called Angry Writer and I write things, so always good to talk about writing. Also, Alex, another thing I know about you is you've apparently been following my work for quite a while because you know what Slingers is, so thank you for that as well. If you're not familiar, folks, Slingers was a self-published novella series that I did in 2014. It was my first crack at a novella series. If you know me from my Sin du Jour series, that is a novella series that I'm doing now for Tor.com Publishing that we're on book 6 of with Gluttony Bay, which I've been talking about incessantly, trying to get you to buy it. And that wraps up next year with Taste of Wrath. But my first novella series was Slingers, and it was about a futuristic death sport in space that was also very much about like global revolution and politics, geopolitics, and all kinds of other cool things. I did that in 5 parts, released them myself, again, self-published them over 2014. And what started that off was, and this was well before, and I'm not bragging or pretending to be some kind of trendsetter or something, but it was before Tor.com Publishing announced that they were going to be doing a novella line, and other publishers started getting into novellas. But it was kind of a market that I saw emerging just from talking to readers. Back then I was mostly doing self-publishing stuff. It was when I was just starting to get back into publishing fiction after focusing on screenwriting for several years and really not being involved in the publishing industry at all. But, I was doing ebooks and I was doing direct releases of ebooks and I was talking to ebook readers and just trying to assess kind of the audience in the market like you do. And I really found that a lot of people were getting into shorter books. They were getting into novellas because they just fit the schedule more. If you're a commuter or I was talking to my knife guy. Obviously, I have a knife guy. If you know me at all, you know I'm someone who have a knife guy. He was talking to me about when he would do his engraving. He would do like these marathon engraving sessions because he works at a knife shop, engraving cutlery. He would listen to novellas while he worked. And it was really that conversation that kind of tipped it for me and went, novellas is really something that I should be looking at as an author looking to monetize the work that I do. And the novella model appealed to me for a number of reasons, particularly a novella series. Not just doing a novella, not just doing a shorter work, even though that does have its own appeal. Like I just said, it fits more with the way people are consuming books and their schedules and audiobooks and that kind of stuff. But doing a novella series really appealed to me because of the product funneling aspect of it. And I'm not going to go into a whole lecture on what product funneling is. You can go look that up yourself. But basically what appealed to me about it is it increased the longevity and the revenue streams that you get out of doing a book. You know, if you do one novel, you do one, let's say 125,000 word novel, which is a pretty sizable book. You put it out there, you hope people buy it, you hope it catches on before in a few months, everyone moves on to something else. And that's true for self-published authors, it's true for traditionally published authors, it's true for anyone who releases a book. These days, unfortunately, with the audience and the market saturation, the media saturation, you have a very limited window to capture people's attention with a book, and so that to me always seemed very detrimental to the lifespan of that book. Whereas if you take that kind of work, that length of work, and you break it down into, say, 4 or 5 episodes of a 20 or 30,000 word novella, and you release one of those every 3 or 4 months, let's say, then you've got more of an episodic thing. First of all, it increases the lifespan of your release schedule, because instead of releasing one book in January, you're releasing this work over the next, year and some change, and really giving people time to catch on to it as it's a new thing and as it's happening. So it increases the lifespan of your marketing and your release. And it also increases your revenue streams, because instead of one revenue stream for one book, you're getting a revenue stream from, 4 or 5 volumes that when you add them all up together, because, they should cost less than a giant book. That's supposed to be part of the appeal of them. But when you add them all up together, you end up making more money as a creator from that work. It's just so commercially, it really appealed to me. And creatively, I always really love, because the thing is, there's nothing new about that model. Serialized novellas, serialized stories, that is as old as commercial fiction itself. The golden age of publishing, 20s, 30s, like it was all about that. Before TV came in, that was the television. So this is not a new model. It's an old model, and one that really appealed to me. But it was a way of taking that old model, making it new again, and making it work for a digital age. And a lot of that really, really appealed to me. Both as a creator and as a business person. So that's what got me into the idea of doing Slingers in 2014, before any of this other stuff started. In terms of what Slingers taught me, what did you take from Slingers that led to or influenced Sin du Jour? Well, obviously it was my first crack at a novella series, so I knew I wanted to do more of this, but it really was a rough draft of a novella series. What it taught me creatively about writing novella series is really to be much more serious and intense about the structure of it. Because when you look at Sin du Jour, what I'm doing now, I'm really proud of the way this is structured. And it's more than just a clever kind of gimmick, but the way everything is set up, it's 7 volumes. Each one is named after and based around a deadly sin, and each one is based around an event that the catering company in the story is doing. But there's also an overarching plot that carries through all 7 books. So you have a really wonderful episodic structure where each one is self-contained, but each one also tells a larger story. Now, when I did Slingers, it was not very, looking back, it was actually kind of a mess. It was not episodic at all. It was really me taking a large story and just breaking it down into parts. And I still like a lot about Slingers. You can still go check Slingers out. It's rough, but it's still out there. It's on Amazon. You can find all 5 parts. I like that story. I like the characters. I like a lot of things I did in it. But when I look at the structure of it, it feels very scattered to me now. Very, not completely incoherent, but it just doesn't have the tight episodic structure that Sin du Jour does. And the reason Sin du Jour has that is because after I finished doing Slingers, I looked at Slingers as a whole, and went, okay, what do I need to do differently to improve upon this as a novella serial? And I would say that's the biggest influence that Slingers had on Sin du Jour. In terms of the business side of things, commercially releasing both of them, it's kind of night and day, because as I said, I self-published Slingers. Sin du Jour I'm doing with an imprint of, one of the biggest publishers on the planet. So you really can't compare the two things. It did absolutely inform the marketing of Sin du Jour and how I felt it should be marketed. Again, coming back to the product funneling thing. Not all of that came into focus, unfortunately, because, again, for Tor.com, and for me, even though I'd done one serial, this is still a very new thing that we're trying to do in a modern context. So there's still a big learning curve. But I would say Alex, that was the big thing I took from Slingers. Was I looked at the loose structure of Slingers and went, I can do better in terms of structure for Sin du Jour. I can make it a much more appealing serial in a series than I did with Slingers, and I tried to do that. It's up to you folks whether I accomplished it or not, but that was definitely what I took from it. Excuse me. I really need to keep water when I'm doing these things. So yeah, Alex, that's I hope that answers your question. I hope you folks found that interesting. That's been a big part of my publishing journey for the last couple of years. This whole idea of doing novella series and exploring this new market and trying to open it up. And I'm still figuring it out. I plan to do more novella serials. I'm pitching a new one to Tor.com, and I plan to keep going with the model. I believe in it. I haven't cracked it wide open yet. It's not making me a fortune. But the structure is there. The commercial structure is there. And I really feel that if we get more people hip to it and we can train the audience as to what that all means, that the market and the audience will catch up with it. It'll really be something beneficial for authors commercially. So yeah, all of that. Alex, this episode was dedicated to you. Thank you for your question. Happy holidays. I will be back tomorrow with more of the Advent vlog. I've got more unboxings for the gift guide that we're going to be doing. I'm trying to catch up on 12 Days of Hamshackle's Holiday Haymakers. It's just things are really hectic right now. I'm doing the best that I can. Thank you for bearing with me. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Hit the comments. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about. I'll dedicate an episode to you. In the meantime, I am Matt Wallace, and I will see you tomorrow.